Hey guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and we're going to start today on our fall mini album. We finished up our fall crate in the previous two videos, so I'll have that linked for you below. There'll be a playlist of all this project, and if you're just joining us midway into this project, go and look in the description below. You'll find a link to my Etsy shop. If you want a kit that has everything in it to make this project except for the tools, you can purchase that. Or if you want to use your own stash, you can do that also and just buy the tutorial. The tutorial is very cheap, $7.99, and you get the whole cutting guide, and it has full color instructions and everything you need to complete this project. So either way, it's fun. Fun. Okay, I love fall colors, and this crate, it was perfect for fall. Okay, so we finished the crate. I'm gonna put that off to the side, but this is what it's gonna look like once we get finished, and you can put at least 4 to 5 of these in here if you decide to make a series and use your own paper, or just make some more with the exact type of paper and put more pictures in there. We're gonna be able to get 13 photos in here. You could put even more, but that's kind of what I came up with when I did this one. I'll put this off to the side, and this is what we're gonna work on now. Okay, let's get started making the base for our mini album. So you're just going to go to your cutting guide on page 10, and you go ahead and cut and score your pieces for your A, B, and C, and then later on there'll be a D piece that we will get to. So I've already got mine cut and scored, and so let's go over how to put these together. So if you're a newbie and you've never put one of these together, you may not understand the scoring process. So cutting's pretty easy, right? If it says like piece A, you take one piece of the 12 by 12 cardstock, you cut it 7, 7 1/4. So you already did that, and then you would take your scoreboard. Sorry, let me grab one of those, and you'd put this on your scoreboard. If it says score on the 7 1/4 side, that means at the top here you should be on 7 1/4 your paper, and then it will tell you where to score. And so if it says score at the 1.5 inch, and over here it's 6 3/4, and there's your score. Then if it tells you to score on the 7 inch side, you're going to turn it around where your paper now is at 7 inches and score according to your cutting guide. So that's how that works. So piece A should have score marks coming down both sides, and then 2 score marks on the bottoms. If you can see that, yeah, right there. Okay. Then piece B has score lines on 2 sides, nothing on top or bottom. And your piece C's have no score lines. They're just 4 pieces that are plain. I'll put my piece C away for now. And we're going to turn over to page 11, and we're going to start putting it together. So let's start first things first with A. You're going to grab your double-sided tape. I'm using 3/8 of an inch score tape. And I'm going to be taping around the 3 scored edges. Closest to the cut edge, I want to stay away from that score line. So I'm going to go right around those 3 edges, closest but not going over to the score line. That's why I like to use 3/8 of an inch. 1/2 of an inch is exactly the size of the score, and so that's very difficult not to go over the score line if it's the exact same size. So you can use 3/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. If you find it in millimeters, there's a 6, an 8, and a 10 millimeter. All of those will work. Then I'm going to grab a bone folder. Give this a good burnish so that it sticks really well. I'm going to go to my piece B, and I'm going to do the same thing on those 2 score lines. Easy peasy. Thing real big, go to the edge, pull up straight. I like to use double-sided tape, especially score tape in construction. It's very strong, and if you run into problems, you can use undo, and it will take that tape up without messing up your project, and you can try again. If you use wet glue, nothing will take that up that I know of. So you have your piece A like this and your piece B. this out of the way here. So we're going to do some cutting on piece A. So grab you some fine tip scissors if you have them. On your piece A, on the score line, I'm going to cut up the score line till I get to the second score line that runs horizontal. That's 1 inch away. You've got a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. So you're going to go all the way up. I'll show you. And there is a picture of this on page 11 that will help you. So I'm taking off this whole section here, up the score line vertically to the second horizontal score line. I'm going to do that on both sides. And take all this bulk off so that we have a place to fold when we start putting the sides on here. Okay, so that's what it should look like. Now, when you take piece B and you place it over the tape, once we take that liner off, it should line up just like that. You should see. You should be able to line your score lines up with the cut edge just like that. So we're going to take off the tape liner, put piece B on top of piece A, and kiss it up to the very first score line. Because your second set of score lines is your gusset. That's what's going to give you room in your book. It's going to be this right here. It's going to be your top gusset. Okay, so make sure got a good burnish here. I'm going to grab my pokey tool, and on piece A at the bottom, I'm going to take off that tape liner. And I'm just going to turn it this way because it's just easier for me. I'm going to line up piece B. I'm going to kiss it up to the score line, not over, and try to get it straight. It's always the best if you can get it pretty straight, but if not, it'll be okay too. So, easy peasy, right? First of all, you can see your book starting to come together. So these other 4 pieces are where your C pieces are going to go. So your C pieces should line up exactly. There should be no overhang. And you know you got it all cut right. So we're going to do the same way. Take off the tape backing. We're going to take our C piece and we're going to kiss it up to the score line and try to get it on straight. It should be exactly the same size. There we go. So there's no overhang. As you're cutting your tape, if you see me flicking, I was going to explain that. If you have your tape that overhangs a little bit, I flick it back onto the project because tape never dries. It's not like wet glue. So it's not going to dry until something covers it up. So whether that's going to be your project, which is paper, or dust, one or the other, it's going to collect there. So I always try not to have any tape hanging out of my project if I see it as I go along. Especially on black. If you're working on black, it becomes really apparent after a while. And we don't want a messy looking project. There we go. So I'm just going to do that on all 4 sides. And basically our booklet is made. We're just going to have to add the wow factor, which is the pattern paper. This may be the easiest mini album there ever was. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start folding in my C pieces. I'm going to go easy at first to fold on those score lines and reinforce them. Now when you first start doing this, they're not going to lay perfectly flat. So just don't stress out about that. After a few days and after you get things in it and it gets heavier and we put more and more layers on there, it will eventually relax and start laying flatter. And I will show you my example. Just a second. So just don't rush it. Take your time. You don't want to create a new score line. Just one over the other. Just going to reinforce it, not making new ones. Then we're going to reinforce this gusset that's going to be on the top. Just easy fold till it folds. And open it up. Do it this way because mine was starting to make a new fold here. So I don't want that. I want that 1/2 inch gusset, because we're going to fill this up with photos and pattern paper, and we're going to need that room. Okay, and then I'm just working that second score line of the gusset. Just trying to take my time and be as easy as I can to try to find that original score line. So once you've done that all the way around, you should be able to fold pretty easily. What I like to do is I like to put my right end and then my left-handed sides in, and then fold up. And the gusset, in this case, this project's at the top, just like that. Cool beans. So here's my example. You can see how it lays pretty flat. There's not a whole lot sticking up. It's not perfect, but it's been made now for a couple of months, and it's got lots of time for it to have relaxed. So never fear, it's not always going to be popping up like this. Okay, let's see where we are. Let's flip on over to page 12. We're going to go ahead and get our pocket ready. So you have on your cutting guide how to cut that pocket out. And now I have to find mine. What did I do with it? Here it is. Piece D. So on piece D, you have a score line on both sides and one on the bottom. So I'm going to take my tape. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go around those 3 edges that have a score line, closest to the outside cut edge as possible without going over. I always think I sound like The Price is Right when I say without going over, because I think that's the only other place you ever hear that saying, without going over. So this is going to be our pocket, just a shallow pocket. And burnish really well. So if you ever are trying to take up double-sided tape and the tape wants to come up instead of the liner, just burnish it on really well and that will help you. Sometimes I forget that step. Now, if you've never mitered a pocket, I'm going to show you how. You'll also see instructions in the middle of page 12. But where those score lines come together, we call that an X. They meet right there in this corner. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to use my long handled scissors, and I'm going to cut a pretty good chunk right where that meets. I'm not going to go over that point, but right where that point is. And don't be afraid to cut. Don't take a sliver. This is how big a piece I took off. Just going to take off an angle, and I'm going to hit it right at that where those 2 pieces meet, and that's called mitering. Okay. So then when you take these pieces of tape and you fold it to the back, tape is still on there. I'll fold all 3 pieces to the back on the score lines. This is going to form your pocket. So what you're trying to do when you're mitering is not have a lot of overlap. On this side, I did pretty good. They kind of meet up. They don't really overlap, but just a tiny, tiny bit. This side I did not do well at all. I've got a big overlap here, and that's going to cause bulk, and it's not going to sit correctly. So I'm just going to try again. I'm going to take another little sliver off. I didn't get right up to that corner. There, and that's much better. Much better. But I did not want to cut the points off. You still want to have those points. So that is going to be your pocket. So for now, the pocket is made. Let's just put that to the side. We want to have that ready for when we get to that piece of it. So now we are ready to start on our cover. We're in the middle of page 12. So you've got right here where it tells you what you need to cut out in order for us to make the front of our album. So I chose the fall leaf paper, and there are 2 leaves. There's big leaves and small leaves. I chose the big leaf pattern, and you'll see that when you get your paper. Yeah. So you want to make sure what's the front of your album. So this gusseted piece, this flat piece, is the top of your album, okay? So this will be my front. And this is the back where we've got the piece together, where it's kind of rough because we put it together. That's going to be the back. So the front is smooth, and it has the flat piece at the top. So this is going to be the front. So I can open it up to work on it easier, but now I know which piece is my front. me make sure I got this correct here. There we go. That's the way I wanted it to look, right there. Right? So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this on. I'm just gonna match it up with equal reveal around all 4 sides, keeping in mind where my score line is, and don't go over it at the top. Okay, there we go. I want to make sure, yeah, that you know where your score line is, so you know how to put this on here. Yeah, there we go. So let's make use of our stickers. A lot of times we overlook border stickers in our packs. Not this time. We are absolutely going to use these border stickers. You see 2 at the bottom. We're going to use both of these on the front. Where's my sample? So right here, we're going to use the big sticker on the bottom, and then butt it up to the top of it. We're going to use the next sticker, and then we're going to put our truck on. So it's going to give us a ground, so to speak. So we're going to use 6 inches of this. What I like to do is kind of line this up and see how much I need. Here, about, and then cut a little bit of extra. It can be a little difficult sometimes. And the reason I'm doing it this way is I cannot help myself. I absolutely have to use my ink to ink the sides up because I don't like that white edge on most stickers. And then I'm going to come to the bottom of the pattern paper. I'm just going to line it up and put it flush to the bottom of the pattern paper till I get to the end of the pattern paper. And then I'm not going to push it down because I need to trim this up. So I'm just going to take my scissors and put it right next to the edge of the pattern paper and get a good trim. Okay, and then I don't have but tiny piece left over, so I don't feel bad about that. Put that in the garbage, and then I'm going to put a little ink on the edge, and then if I need to trim it up again, I can do that. All right, that looks good. Burnish this down into place, and we are good to go. So let's do the same thing. So now I kind of know where to cut off because this is the same length here with this sticker. And like I say, this is just an extra step if you like it, but to me that makes a big difference. I don't know if you can see it in the screen where this has been inked but the bottom has not. To me, in real life, IRL, as the kids say, my daughter will get a kick out of that when she watches this. I think it makes a big difference. To me, it gives it a polished and a finished look. It makes it look like you know what you're doing, right? So just butt that up on the top of that other sticker. Push that down. I'm going to do the same thing, just slow and steady. Trim that off. And I need just a little hair more. There we go. Pretty good. Like that, and I think we're good to go. Now, the next part of this is our truck. I wanted the truck to be the centerpiece of the front of our album. So this big truck here, the sticker. So you're going to need the truck sticker. You're going to need a piece of your leftover cardstock. So let me see if I can find the smallest piece I have here. Yeah, it'll fit there easy. You guessed it. Going to ink. Can you see a difference here at the top and bottom? Don't know if you can. Anyway, I think it makes a big difference. So after you ink all around the edges, just going to put it down here on your cardstock. And if you're a great fussy cutter, just knock yourself out and fussy cut all day long. If you're not such a great fussy cutter and you own a scan and cut, you might want to do that. If you're me, and I do have a scan and cut, but I tell you, sometimes it's very temperamental. What I like to do is I like to guesstimate about what a little more than 1/8 of an inch would look like all the way around, and I use my pencil and I kind of draw a rough sketch all the way around. And I've done this on film before, and I know that it's an extra step and not everybody has to do this or cares to do it, but it makes me feel better because I know if I get too close, I can just erase it and try again, just like that. I got way too far away that time. I can just try again until I like it and then cut it out. Because, you know, once you put your sticker down on the paper, there's no going back after that. There's really no way to salvage that if you cut it too close, unless you're going to do like a double or triple mat. There's just not a lot you can do. So to me, it's better safe than sorry. And some people are just really good fussy cutters. You can kind of see. See if I can get it tilted. Yeah, you can see this really good right here. This is kind of what I like to do. And it's worth the extra 2 or 3. That is not my good fussy cutting scissors. I was just having this conversation. These do not fussy cut well. It is worth the extra 2 or 3 minutes to me to get a good cut that I don't cringe at when I go back and look at, especially on my finished product on the front of the album. Still don't have my scissors that I ordered, my cutter bees, so I'm still using these Singer scissors I found in the sewing section that are made, it says it was made for intricate cuts. Delicate work. So at least they're not choppy like my Fiskars ones I was just using. I mean, no matter how I turned it and twisted it, those left big choppy places. Well, this is not quite like that. So you're only as good as your tools, right? So we'll see when I get my cutter bees if I like it better. But these do the trick. The only thing I don't like about these is it's like they were made for children because the holes are tiny and they hurt my fingers. Or maybe they were made for women in the 50s. I don't know. Because don't they know us girls, most of us are big girls now. This really cramps my fingers trying to use them, but it does a good job. So, okay, I am pretty good with that. So if I see any stray marks with my pencil, I'll erase those. But I'm going to go back around with my ink and get it. I don't have very much left. Let me grab some more to kind of darken those edges. And then we're going to glue this bad boy on. So don't get ahead of me and glue the whole thing down. Remember, this is the pocket. So on the bottom of page 12, I kind of walk you through how we're going to put it on here. Grab the front of my book again. We'll open it up just to make it easier to work with. So these 2 stickers are going to form a foundation for our little truck. So that's going to be kind of our road, even though you don't know that you're seeing that, maybe, but your eyes, that'll be more pleasing than it just kind of hanging out there. It's got a little place to land here. So I'm just going to kind of put this where the truck tires or the bottom land on the top of that first sticker. And I'm going to put glue from bumper to bumper. I also sound like a commercial today. So first that was Price is Right. Now I'm a car commercial. But anyway, I'm going to put glue from bumper to bumper. And take my art glitter glue, and we're just going to use this as a tuck point. So we want it to go all the way around the bottom and then up just a tiny way on the side. So I'm just going to kind of center this to the space and put my truck tires at the top of the first big sticker. And then give this a second to dry as I keep pushing it around. I just love red trucks. I hope that everybody else still thinks they're in, because I'm still seeing them for sale in decorating stores, you know, home decor parts of stores is what I was trying to say, you know, and other different places. I'm still seeing in stickers and cardstock, I'm still seeing the red trucks. It seems like they're still going to be in this year, and I love them. I love them. Even if they change the color of them, I still love an old truck. So now we have this beautiful pocket on the front. Now to finish this off, I decided it needed something right here, a little sticker. So let's go to your sticker pack. And there is one that says Crisp Leaves, and it's really small. And now it's going to be like find the sticker. So right underneath where the truck came out, this says Crisp Leaves. That's the one I used, but there's plenty of other ones that you can choose from if you want it to be a little bit bigger, more substantial. But I liked the look of this one, how it was long and skinny for this area. Hit it here on the edges. And then I'm going to line it up on the center of the big sticker all the way to the right of that sticker and just place it down. There we go. So we've got a really good start here. At the end of the album, we'll do all the tags at once. So we'll have the tags that's going to go in here like this. There'll be 3 tags on the front, and there'll be other tags as we go along. So, do we have time enough to do the back? I think so. Let's try and get that done today. So let's go on over to page 13. You're going to need your sheet of paper on the top of 13. It's the same size as the one you used on the front. And I chose to use this pattern paper that had all these different designs on it. I thought this was a great way to be able to see it without covering it up on the inside. And it also is going to help us line it up. If you cut it the way I did, just the left side of the paper, it's about 3/4 of an inch high here, and then we can use the center part, and that's exactly where we will put our eyelet. So we'll go ahead. I'm going to open this up. So just make sure you're on the back. I don't know if I showed you that. But all we're doing, if this is our truck, you're just flipping it straight over. So if you open it up, your truck would be upside down. And we're going to glue this on, and then we're going to put our eyelet through once it's glued on. So our eyelet is going to hold our elastic in place. I don't know if you've ever used that technique, but if not, I think you will like that. It takes out the bulk of having a knot in the middle of your book. I've made some books like this and just tied my elastic in the center and tried to make it like part of the decorations. But this works so much better streamlining, I think, to make your project really, really professional looking, even though it's country, right? So you're going to come in about 3 inches from the side, and you're going to come up 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. And like I say, this paper just happens to help you work out that way. So I can see that this is going to be the center of my paper, right in the center of this little piece, and it's about 3/4 of an inch high. So I'm going to put my eyelet right here. So if you choose different paper, or if you cut your paper a little differently, just know to come over 3 inches will be the center, and come up 3/4 of an inch. And because I'm a little nutso, the reason I chose 3/4 of an inch up, when you turn this over, that's going to come about right here where the truck tires are on the project. So when you pull this forward and it's straight, it kind of lines up with the sticker, right? Yeah, I think about that stuff. Like I say, I'm going to count it. I have too much time on my hands, I guess. Anyway, back to this. Sorry. So I'm going to make sure I open this up so I don't punch a hole through that. Go back to back to our We Are Memory Keepers. We're going to use the biggest side of this, the 3/16. And like I say, this is on top of page 13 if you want to follow along. And I'm going to just punch a hole right where I have that marked. Okay, cool. If you're using this and you don't know how to use it to do an eyelet, well, today I'm going to show you. It's kind of hard to see, but there's etchings on the right side and on the left side, and you're going to look for one that says base. So it says it here. So if this is your 3/16 side, it's your base side. And on this side is your interior side. So the base of your eyelet goes here, and the top of your eyelet goes on this side. So when we're holding it, we're gonna hold it like this because it tells you put the base here and the top here. Believe me, if you don't, it's not gonna set right. And there is a difference between those two because I have messed up an eyelet doing that. So grab your eyelet, clean up my area. I'm gonna put that to the side. Don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm going to grab my elastic. It's already cut down to the size that you need. So you're going to take that elastic and the two ends are going to go inside this hole. So working from the back, you're going to stick those two loose ends inside the hole, right? So now you have a loop. Now it's hard to see on this black, but now you have your loop hanging out. So you're going to take that eyelet, and with those two still sticking in there, you're going to just take your time and get that eyelet pushed through. It's going to be tight, but it'll pop into place. I'm going to flip this over and take a look at it. So this is what you should see. You should see these little two antennas of about 1/2 inch sticking out, and then your eyelet coming through. All right, so that's what you should see. I'll flip this back over. It's a little unwieldy right now. I'm gonna take this top piece and clip it. Use a big paper clip so at least that will stay in place. So I'll kind of fiddle with it for just a second and kind of get my loop toward the bottom, but I don't want them to be the two on top of each other, to the sides. Make sure everything still looks good. It's pulled through. So now I'm going to go back to this where it says base is going to go on the bottom and this side's on the top. And I'm going to line that up on my eyelet. Just going to go slow. Right. Now I'm going to squeeze. Squeeze about halfway down. You can always squeeze more if you need to. You can go back to it, but you don't want it to be to squeeze too hard and it's not a circle anymore, right? It'll kind of get into an oval shape if you try to do it too much. So I'm going to turn it over, and you can see mine is not quite flat yet, but it's getting there. It's looking good, so I'm just going to put it right back on there, and I'm going to squeeze some more. Okay. And if you can't get it as flat as you want to, using these, now you can get a hammer out and hammer on this side of it and get it as flat as you think you can. I think mine is pretty flat now. That looks pretty good. So once I get that through, now I can kind of pull on it. I know I'm in good shape, so I'm going to take off my little antennas here. I'm not going to go all the way to the base, but take off, most of it so I don't have all that extra bulk. So now, when you glue your paper over this, it's going to be a little straight. I mean, not perfectly straight, but pretty straight. And we're going to put a pocket over it, so you're never going to be able to tell that it's there. So once everything is said and done, this will come over, and this is going to help hold your project in place. Easy peasy. I hope someone really enjoyed that. I think that is a really cool technique. So like I said, once you put a mat over this and then a pocket over it again, you're never going to be able to tell that that was there. Okay, I think we will stop here today. We'll come back. We've got one more day, maybe 2 more days, and we're going to lay everything out. Go ahead and look through your cutting guide and pre-cut your pattern papers, and then I'm going to show you as we go through this what this project will look like if you're just going to use, like I say, the 4x6 cardstock pieces that comes with it. If you're giving it as a gift, you just want to tell people to put their photos here, or if you just want to hold the spot for yourself, or if you want to see this, what it looks like with actual pictures in it. I'm going to show you that too. So I hope you've enjoyed this process so far. If you have, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And once again, if you make this project, no matter what paper you use, if it's the kit or if it's something out of your stash, please go over to our Facebook group, Lisa Wise Designs, and post some pictures there. We would love to see it. Thank you guys for the support so far. You've been so kind to me on this new venture, and I'll see you again tomorrow back here, same time, same place. Thank you. Night, guys.